Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. Go sing the song you were going to sing.
Um, People are talking about people.
All right. Well, we're on our first location as a mobile podcast, and I want to introduce my guest today. Um, it's going to go in a lot of different directions, but I'm going to lay some foundation down. He's a friend, a father. We've known each other for a very long time, and we're here to educate the world on what it looks like to be part of that 1%. I have here, this is my stepdaughter's dad, Mr. RB.
Hello, how you doing?
You want to give a little bit about yourself real quick?
Yeah.
This is his studio where you actually practice, so we're actually in his
Dungeon.
in his personal space. So that's how real that it's getting today.
Yes. I met you. I don't know. I want to say it feels like 20 years already, but it hasn't been that long. Just under maybe like 15 or something.
It's probably been about 11.
11?
Yeah.
Well,
I remember the story.
I drank a lot when I met you.
I remember the story that you gave me on how you saw me, but I didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No, I don't.
No. It was in Corpus. It was at a CrossFit event.
Oh, yes.
That's when you saw me, but I didn't know who you were till later on. I got to meet you.
Yes. I was with another gym at that time. But what swung us around with each other, I joined another tournament in that CrossFit that was out of town, and they had the rowing bikes,
Yeah.
and the gym that I practice at, they didn't have those actual machines. You did at your facility.
Yeah.
So I had been there before because I had some friends that would go to some of my shows that I played out on the south side of town, and it was a group of cheerleaders that would, I guess, whatever team or their function, they paid for them to work out at your gym.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and so I got invited to that because I told them I did do CrossFit, and they're like, you got to check out this gym. This guy Rob's real, he's awesome. So Rob. So I went, and not that I didn't like my coach at the time. I really did. You just had a little different approach, and it just seemed like you were very, very smart in the technical area of that. And I felt that played a big part in that style of working out because you can seriously hurt yourself, right?
Yeah.
I was a musician. I've been a musician over 20 years now, and balancing nightlife and trying to stay healthy was something that fell off prior to meeting you.
Yeah.
Fell off really bad, and I had some mishaps and some health issues, and I decided to really check myself in gear with that. I think it was in maybe but a year and a half till we finally started.
So I connected because you walked in that time, and then you told me that you had saw me in Corpus at a competition, and I was a crazy guy running back and forth because I had people everywhere. Mm-hmm. So
so serious. You're so serious.
Who doesn't like to win? That's why,
true.
So we
stress out. You don't stress out.
I don't stress out.
You don't stress out. That always.
So it's pretty amazing that our relationship, we started off as friends, and we kind of built a relationship from there. We were in relationships at the time, and that's again how kind of we connected. But fast forward to where we are now. Again, you are my stepdaughter's dad.
There's got to be another word for that.
What do you want to use?
I don't know English,
Bonus?
but I think it's like cuñado or father-in-laws. I have.
Brandon,
no
you want to
idea.
give one? Any other word? No.
Do you know how we could, just
our daughter?
Yeah.
All right, we'll use that one. So, our daughter, this is the other dad, and I'm the other dad. So, again, we're here to educate.
Yes.
What I really wanted to get out of this is where we come from similar but different backgrounds in a sense, both childhood and in our adult life.
I think we're both affected by the Kelly Air Force Base water.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Grew up in the same area?
Yeah, within 5 miles apart.
Yeah.
Pretty almost.
But what I really want to dive into is how do two guys, Hispanic culture, the world right now would say that me and you are not supposed to get along. We're not supposed to like each other. We're not supposed to be invited to birthday parties because that's when it all stops. Basketball games. Where do you think, or why do you think our relationship is different?
First, I don't think the audience knows why we should not get along. So just to quickly summarize that, he is now married to my ex-wife.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife have a daughter together. And I also have another child with another lady, and that child, that son, grew up with his current wife raising him. So,
so that's like pretty much he's my son as well.
Yes,
kind of. Because we do talk.
Yeah,
he's done. We've worked together, and again, it's an honor that the relationship that we have, that we even get to watch our grandkids. Right? You also allow that. He allows that I get to be a part of their life as well.
Yes. I don't know. When I first, I guess why we're not supposed to be friends is because of that situation, because of your wife Stella, and that automatically is a flashing light to some, because men often do take that in the most immaturest way, and the kids are the last pride smothers, which should be a relationship about the children.
Correct.
Not missing a beat because the grown-ups couldn't get along, or the grown-ups didn't work out, or whatever the case may be, on why the mother and father, biological mother and father of the child, in that sense as well, that like our friendship developed before I knew exactly who you are. I was with you for 3 hours in the morning. I was with you for 2 hours in the evening.
Probably 6 days a week.
6
sometimes
days a
7.
week. Yeah, 5 hours a day with some person. That's a more of a relationship than more honest relationship than some people have. So I knew you. I knew your brothers. I knew your mom and dad. I've worked out with your mom and dad there at the gym with you. It was just almost as if you were cousin status. Yeah. Fortunately, I decided to change my life, and I got very lucky that she chose you.
Man, that's an honor.
Yes, I did. I was very lucky that she chose you to bring into the household where my daughter lived. Yeah. Not all men aren't as lucky with that situation.
Because she was on the first episode of that she talked about that when I came around, that was something on her list, where she called it a list, was to understand y'all's relationship as separate, and how the relationship that she wanted a man to come in and be okay with you being a very active father, right? Being an active father just doesn't mean, we pay what we pay, we'll show up here and there, but you're involved, you show up to all the things. Decisions, things like that. And again, with all those dynamics happening, again, us being that 1%, where do you see us like separating ourselves from that statistic?
I think first our maturity on that subject. I guess when you first discovered that you were going to have a relationship with Stella, you had very good intentions. You pulled me aside. You talked to me. Mm-hmm. There was nothing in the dark. Yeah. We've always been eye to eye. And like I said, our relationship in the past is different, and I got lucky with you. But also, when I chose somebody to have a child with, I feel I chose a very good parent, or to be a very good parent. Stella was very good with my son, and I didn't feel that it'd be any different with having a child with her. So when she chose to have another partner, I was scared, but not really, because our families are so similar, and her decision making and stuff. It wasn't about. It was things that never been about her. Things are about family and about the kids. Even before we had our daughter. So, yes, I was lucky, but I think your wife plays a big part of why we get along. Yeah.
So when I put you aside and I had that conversation with you, what were some initial thoughts that, again, because that's a man-to-man conversation.
Yes.
Right. And if you would say the word, if you were to do that out, people would expect the Jerry Springer, us throwing it down in the parking lot.
No, it was like this, bro. Like, because you don't know who's going to walk in that door. When you leave your family, for whatever reasons you decide, for whatever the reason you leave your household, that door stays open until somebody else walks in. Somebody else is always going to walk in. You just better hope and pray that their intentions aren't in the wrong place for the children that still live at that home that belong to you.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for her choosing you. And that has a lot to do with who her parents are and whatnot, and how her family morals and ethics and stuff. All of that played a big part in why we have our relationship.
So like when people found out that we were friends before, we were in other relationships, and then I approached you and we had that man-to-man conversation about me dating Stella. Did you get any outside noise that did anything try to creep in, or any other outside voices that?
Just one.
Just one.
Our brother-in-law. He was the only and it's a machismo perspective, and I respect it. Everybody has their own thoughts, and the way it's all about how you look at something, and he feels different, and we talked, and we've talked several times as he brought situations up, and I think I do a pretty good job on convincing him to see otherwise on why we team up so well with the family. And that's not just our daughter. Yeah. You have a son as well from...
he digs you. He always gives you hugs. And
I mean, and like, the more the merrier. I mean, look at the family that we have. And I've always been told that it takes a village, to raise kids. And I'm very proud of how kick-ass we are at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very proud of that. We're like I said, we're also very, very different. So balancing out certain things, like, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I mean, we can always have our outside perspectives and our inside perspectives. Outside, whether you being the biological dad, but also inside perspective because you live with her.
Yeah.
So inside, outside, both ways. I am her biological father, but I don't live in the same household as she does. Yeah. And those things can change at any time. Children can choose in their teens as they get older to live with different households. But I think that when all that stuff comes along, I do look for your help more than you think, because you're there 24/7, and I love those girls. I love them. They are my family, and I think that was always more important, or how I saw things, and how the other 99% see it.
So how are you able to really, like, when it takes a village, like, we're constantly essentially around each other a lot. Again, I'm very blessed that you allow me to have a relationship with Jace, and I get to be around his kids as well. How did you, within that little circle, or the village, sorry, like the machismo part, how did you leave that out? How did you, like, what, I don't want that, I've maybe seen it, or I'm not going to let that affect me anyhow? Like, what were those steps or times that you're like, what, I'm not going to let that kind of sink into me, because then a lot of the things that we worked for, or I want for our daughter, or I want the best for her, how did you not let that creep in?
So 2 parts. I think I'll need some time and a second episode to study how I developed it, but if I'm explaining, because for everybody it's going to be different,
Yeah, absolutely.
different situations of what happened and what went on during relationships as they split and there's child left behind. I believe within myself, and my purpose is for moving on, and I bluntly I left my family behind, and there was a lot of things that I felt I needed to nourish and grow and change or figure out as well. I was lost, and um, I didn't selfishly hold on. There's still a lot of holding on going on between relationships after they leave and split up.
Yeah.
And I had made my decision, and I was chasing that. And when you really love somebody, you don't love them because of the things that you want for them. You love them no matter what they choose or how they want to be. And I felt that Stella understood me to leave like that. And I wanted her to be happy. It's the weirdest thing. And the 99%, what I mean on that second episode, I don't know how to explain how it makes me feel when I see y'all together.
Yeah.
Because the other 99% aren't gonna.
That's why I said we're the 1%ers, and
women think like, oh, they're in love. Like I get that feeling. I hear her call you babe. Those are awkward things to other men. They can't accept those things. When y'all kiss and peck, those little things that some men are just like, I super get off to that. There's just something about that that satisfies that my family is in good. They're happy.
Yeah,
they're happy. We're okay right now. We're okay.
So how does again speaking on that? How can maybe you guide, navigate, maybe speak into, educate, in maybe teaching another man like it's okay to let a father figure, right? Because I'm never gonna be her dad. It's gonna be more of a father figure, spiritual father figure. How do you maybe guide someone to let that be okay? Like accept it in a way with grace and accept it like it like you said, it's gonna happen. Someone else is gonna come in. Mm-hmm. How can you maybe help someone like change that mindset or mentality? Like,
first and foremost, you have to understand that it's about the child, and not all men are gonna get the choice that I got. That's a hard part, and that's something that some men can't. I mean, the person they chose to have a child with chooses very not suitable father figures for the children that are still living in the house.
So maybe a different way, like they think they feel that this is right for them, not for the bigger picture.
Yeah, and all those can be different as far as the steps you take to make sure that you're still respecting boundaries, and that is a very, very deep study to try to get behind, because it's such a wide open.
I mean, because we don't agree on everything.
Yeah, we don't.
Right? It was say like the phone, right? It was like, does she need a phone? And you're right. There was some pros and some cons.
No, I agreed with you. No phone.
Right? It was no phone at the beginning, but then she ended up getting.
Mom wanted.
She ended up getting a phone.
Mom didn't agree with us.
Yeah, but there was the pros and cons, and
here's the difference. I'm not a handgun person. I'm not big on guns.
Yeah,
and you feel the need for the protection. So do a lot of other men.
Yeah,
it's just not me.
So when we do get into those, like we call it agree to disagree, but the fact that we can talk it out, and it might not turn out the way that maybe I wanted the outcome to come out, and maybe you wanted the outcome to come out. And again, it's just having that respect for each other to be like, okay, we might take the L on this one, but again, it's the bigger picture of how to get the W for the child.
Yeah.
And
bottom line, I need you. I do need you. You're there with her. I need you very bad, especially at the games. I might get up on stage and shout in front of a lot of people, but bro, I am not the kind of dad to be like, "Come on, Chandler, pass the ball." I'm not a sports yelling kind of guy. I'm just not.
And
that
she
kind
gives
of guy.
me the look.
I know.
And then I have to tell you, okay, tell her this, because she looks at me like, stop. So I'm like, okay, she might not do it to you, so I'll tell you, hey, tell her this. and then she either does it or she looks at you and smiles. I'm like, man, I guess that's gonna be the way it's gonna go.
She can be real mean. She can be real mean. I mean, bro, she's about to be 13.
Yeah, and that's our next venture. Is I guess I would say
Like,
I met her probably when she was 4, 3, somewhere around there.
very young, yeah.
And then, first birthday party was maybe 6, 7. The Ladybug party, I think that was the first one. And again, like we got to make some groundwork. And again, it was a lot of building for me because again, I was the outsider. She was going to protect her dad. Even now it's still working on that relationship that,
how was that?
It's different.
How was I felt at certain time I had to step back from doing the family functions because we've always been a close family. I've always been real close to her. And I was like, RB, they need to grow.
And it was
and
growing.
If he leaves, I'm screwed. They need
I'm
to
still here.
They need to grow. They need he needs to mend with father-in-law. He needs to mend with mother-in-law. He needs the time, like those things, those boundaries and the respect of that course.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of.
You remember, because I come from a family of boys, so I knew nothing about a little girl. Nothing.
Oh.
I do have a niece, but again, we're nothing but boys. So it really took me a lot of studying, a lot of courses of just education for myself. And it really came down to like, I had to meet her where she was at versus trying to get her to meet me where I was at.
Yeah.
I had to go down to her. So I still do. I let her lead kind of our relationship. And of course, there's always course correction. If something like I really don't agree with, like, no, man, that's not cool. Like, we don't say that or we don't do that. But again, it's like letting her lead, but she knows that I'm there, that if she kind of trips up, I can catch her, or we can both catch her.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, she lives with us. So, catch her and kind of help her along those lines. But it was, I would say, it wasn't difficult. It was just new to me on how do I gain trust, with from her, that when she's like, you're not my dad. I think I got that maybe once or twice that you're not my dad, but the fact that I was able to talk to you, we had a couple of family meetings.
Yeah.
And
those are very important.
Yeah, have family
those
meetings.
Those are very, very important.
Because you let her know.
That comes out, and the more association in the ring, like, hey, you're not getting away with this.
Yeah, because you let her know that it was okay to listen to me.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you need to listen to him. Or you said something else.
Yeah.
But it's like that you let her know that it was safe because it came from you. So it wasn't not also did you need me? I also needed you and help building this relationship because that's what was needed. She needed to hear it from her dad.
Yeah.
Right? I'm protecting him.
And that's okay.
Rob, you don't tell me what to do. Yeah. But once we started catching on to the little, well, I'm in trouble here, I'm going to go to my dad's house.
Yeah.
And then we talked to her dad. We tell him. But we let her know, we let her think that she was winning. But in the back end, we knew because we had that communication. And you're like, no, like, we're not going to do that either. So it is a growing process. Like, how do you see us moving into this teen era?
I'm scared. You know the kind of guy I am.
Yeah.
So this is a lot. Having a daughter is a huge slap in the face to a lot of things. And it changes your view on the decisions you made with women and not wanting those to reoccur with your daughter with somebody else, and how sometimes you don't have a choice. Humans pick who they want to pick.
Yeah. Well, they also model for things, right? Like you said, like that she sees me all the time.
Yeah.
So I do my best in my character and who I am, that like you said, like you see how I love Stella. Stella loves me back. So if Madison sees that, she can see like,
that's what she picked.
This guy should open the door for me, regardless of like he's my boyfriend or like, I need the guy to open the door for me. I need the guy to leave me notes or things like that. Like the way I treat Stella is the way that hopefully she models. Like I need to find, someone like that to be in my life. And
yeah, but I'm a musician. Like I do not want that on her menu at all. That's the slap in the face sometimes.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Not that I'm not. I don't want it to come off as you being, a square or anything. You're a very fun guy. I've had a lot of fun with you the years I've known you, and you're very humorous. It's awesome, and that does a lot with it as well. But
it's the dad jokes. And she gets double dad jokes.
Yeah, she does.
So that's perks for her, right? Because I think one of the funniest things that we were talking about earlier was when we were walking her out to the parking lot after some practice that she had. I know this little girl looked at her and she wanted to know why these two guys are following her.
Oh, yes.
And she's like, "Oh, these are my dads." And that little girl gave her this look like, "What?" And the first thing out of her mouth,
her mind exploded. Like,
her
what?
first thing out of her mouth was, "Oh yeah, these are my but they're not gay." Dude, that was so funny because this little girl was just mind blown. Like,
what? Yeah. But we do live in a time.
What is maybe 3 things? I know there's a lot of things, especially now, to kind of be mindful of and maybe a little nervous about. What are some top 3 things that we are going to have to maybe navigate?
To be honest, I think school, the education part of school, I think mom has that down really well. The other part I don't think they do so well with at school is social life. And that's a big part of who we become later on. And her picking the right peers and knowing how to not choose certain I don't
like
know,
a circle?
The circles, but I mean, kids are going to be kids, and teenagers can be teenagers. But how to teach her to not, like you, not let those things affect her, because she has a lot of me, always a people pleaser, and you're a go getter, and it biological has a lot to do with it, but the person that she constantly sees all the time has a big effect on how that gets dumped into her, and I'm just real worried about who she chooses to be around and how she allows them to affect her. Yeah.
Well, I know, like, she has some friends at school, but then also at church, she has a church gang. But she's the youngest one, I believe, in that church circle, and she's kicking it with, some high schoolers, but they treat her and they kind of like guide her and teach her very well. So they accept her versus like, when she went to public school for those.
Yeah, they bring her to their level.
Yeah, and they meet her where she's at as well, right? Because she's the youngest one. She's in middle school and they're in high school. But we've had a conversation with her where they go to like little parties together, and she comes back. She's like, "Oh man, I had a blast, and I was hanging out with sophomores and juniors, and they were so cool." And then when we
that part I'm worried about.
Yeah,
cool. To me, adult lessons grabs the word cool because to be cool, other people have to think you're cool. And I just want her to have the confidence in knowing that
kind of have that discernment of
you're cool, but you don't need them.
You ain't that cool.
You don't. No, you're cool, but you don't need them to validate your coolness.
Yeah,
we do that as a teenager. We want everybody to say we're cool. We need their approval on the coolness, because being cool at that age is very important to you.
Yeah,
being cool that has a big effect on me. The coolness. I have a lot of friends with children that it's not an important thing to them. Yeah. However, it is an important thing to me because that's the role I've played with my music career. Yeah. It's about being cool, and I'm afraid it's going to affect her being biologically in there with her. So who you are as an athlete and as a coach and as a pastor and whatnot, those are all roles of a human who has a lot of confidence and don't need another human's validation to receive that. They're your own medals, and that's where you stand. That's where you put yourself. So that hopefully that fights my blood. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
But I mean, you've always been really like open and honest with her. A lot of things that she asks. and at times, even for, I'll be honest, for my taste, could be a little too forward. But that's your language with her, and kind of how y'all navigate y'all's relationship, right? Because again, she's having to navigate two father figure roles, and kind of decipher like, okay, like, and she's right in the middle. So again, I would say the best thing we can do is constantly support her emotions and feelings, but with like factual things, not just give in to the emotions and feelings because she's having a rough day. Because I think
I tend to give in.
I don't really give in.
Yeah, I tend to give in. I don't know if she grinds you that way, because I'm a big crybaby when it comes to her. I don't know. After she was born, girls are different than boys, so your sternness isn't like asshole move of sternness.
But it also comes with a kickback, though, right? So if the I give in, it's like, oh, if I give in, if one dad's going to do it, I wonder if the other dad is going to do it as well. And I try to lay down, that line. And again, that's where it can kind of not always be in easiest word, like my favor of like, man, like all you had to do was just this. It was the easiest. Well, and then again, when she wants something, at times I'm like, no. Okay, I'll be back. I just call my dad. Dad.
Yeah.
That's
when you got to text me like, hey, this is, and I know it's hard to like do that on the fly.
Yeah.
But we got those voice things like, hey, coming in hot. She wants this, but this is what's going on. And I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just tell her, baby, let me text you right back or call you right back. And I can call you, and you can in depth the illustration of the scenario. That way, I know how to help.
So obviously, like being in the 1%, like it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of communication, a lot of trust, a lot of respect, and I think
a lot of secureness, not being insecure.
I mean, that is true, right? Because
that's like the number one thing.
Because being again, insecure. Like knowing that, y'all had maybe 14, 15 year relationship, and I am actually, we're talking about it yesterday. I think me and Stella have known each other and kind of like dating ish. I think it's been going almost on like 9 to 10 years already, and married 3 years. Or we just turned 3 years. So yeah, that does come with, especially a lot of, confidence on my side, because there could be a lot of seeds that get planted, and it'd be like, when, you're dropping off over there. Well, how long did you take? What are you doing? Yeah. Right. And that's where, again, it comes where. Yeah.
Not just with me and your wife, with you and your ex and your son's
too.
Mother.
See, that's another one. Maybe one day we'll have like a family version
and like I said, it'll be different with every relationship, but I think it'd be great to try to start like a process. Find a couple that wants to work through that and getting their information and the honest things that have happened, and trying to turn their process of a family.
In other words, don't be
around.
A statistic.
Yes.
Type deal where
it would have to be per relationship.
Like you can't even hang at a birthday party.
Yeah.
Like, we have skating parties that would go to, and we'll have all the, and people that come in, they'll find it awkward. Like your mom, she gives me a hug all the time. Your dad, I tell him what's up, and we give each other hugs.
But those things are normal until somebody else says something.
Well, it's normal to us.
Yes. Well, no, not normal. I'm sorry. It's not a hard thing for me. That's something I enjoy. When y'all invite me, or Jesse invites me to our nieces, Jocelyn or Josie's. Yeah. Those are our nieces. I'm like, this is crazy over there. It's always a good time. So it's not something that is real hard for me. Yeah. It's the other stuff that's created where we normally come from in society that doesn't allow us to get there as men. Yeah. And that part is going to be different with every relationship.
Yeah. So what do you think, like moving forward, like how can me and you continue, like, again, educating for people to be in this 1%, because it is a lot of work. You can say it's, it's hard work, but then hard work becomes easy work because it becomes a natural thing. Mm-hmm. what are some next steps? Because we even text each other on Father's Day, like, hey, happy Father's Day.
Yes.
Happy birthday, things like that as well. Like, Merry Christmas, all that fun stuff. What are some ways that me and you can continue to keep building from the foundation that we have when we were essentially supposed to be a statistic? Like, what are some ways that me and you can keep?
I think we should. I think we're far along in our family's relationship to start doing a few things together. It is sometimes a little tricky because we are different, and I don't have one woman, and you're married, so the things that we enjoy are different. And inviting me, I come solo most of the time, or I would have to find one of my female companions that would like to join, because third wheel puts us back in an odd situation. And it kind of feels incomplete as far as our circle. So because y'all are two and you want the other two to bounce off of, the guys talk, the girls talk. Yeah. And that in our situation, that doesn't happen. I come alone, or I bring a friend who I can't relate to marriage problems, or like, bro, she's making me go to this thing again. I don't have those situations. Yeah. So I think maybe you and I could try to do stuff with the kids more often, and with Rory and Madison, and even with the granddaughters, picnics and stuff like. I mean, we're that family that you live in, that village you live in.
I get invited to your sons, right, or our sons,
granddaughters'
birthday parties, and it's amazing. Like, it feels great because she calls you Popo, and she calls me Ho Ho because she thinks I'm Santa Claus.
Yes,
Santa Claus is not supposed to be brown.
Yeah,
and it just seems so cool because she's so innocent that she doesn't know that the dynamic that she's having, and that's amazing.
Yes,
that we can do that. We can take a family picture. When people see it, they're like, "Oh my God, hey, who got in a fight?" Like,
yes,
they're standing next to each other and they're doing this, because sometimes Rory will want to stand next to you in some pictures. But it's a lot of groundwork.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be different for everybody. Yeah. I think that we should team up to help pick a relationship and say let us try to.
So hopefully, maybe with this podcast, somebody would reach out and they would want to be that first, and we can be like, okay, like, this could be a thing, because again, like, it was God's will, right? It's not it's not His favor. If it's not in His will, it's not in His favor that He allowed me to meet you, which allowed me. That's how I met my wife.
Yep.
And again, like statistics, we're not supposed to like each other. We're not supposed to be in your space right now. Yeah. We're not even supposed to be jamming on this, on educating. Like, how do people just change? Yeah,
that's the furthest thing from.
Yeah. And we're here. So, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you allowing me to be in your home, to be in your practice room, to be in your personal space with all this cool stuff in the background. That's him up in that poster. I don't know if you can see it, by the way. And I just really appreciate a lot of the things that you give me the grace on to deal with and learn and have my own relationship with Madison. Because again, she is my daughter, and I want, the best for her. And I really do appreciate you allow me to, instill, educate, teach, be that father figure, for her in that area. So I really do appreciate it, man. I do appreciate you being here and being open. And again, we're spreading this knowledge to the world that you can be in that 1%.
Love. It's all about love.
Yeah. So, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes.